It's been a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute, everyone. This is Grant Sparks and
Nicole Ray.
Nikki Ray.
Okay, we can go with that. Yeah, let's do it.
And we are the HotSpark Show. This is episode, I don't even know. What are we at, 39?
Yeah, I was going to say we're in the late 30s.
Episode 39, and we've been trying to get back on the track, connecting with awesome people. And today I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Nicole found LauraAura.
Yeah, you guys got to go to Instagram Threads. A lot of people still don't even know what it is. And it is an awesome community. I feel like anytime I really need a message to get out, like our influencer event with the Modern Pearl, or I'm looking for guests for our show, that's where people respond.
And so you found LauraAura
on Instagram Threads.
On Instagram Threads. Awesome person. As we were looking into her, she responded. It was kind of the serendipitous thing because we were looking at some of her accomplishments. Founder of the Gutsy podcast, or host of the Gutsy podcast, 500 episodes of that. Been doing that almost, I think she said 6.5 years.
Yeah.
But also an entrepreneur for the last, I don't know, she said 18 years.
Yep, that makes sense.
Huge amount of followers on Facebook, super successful. But what I love most so far, two things. Number one, her energy, but it feels like her outfit matches her energy. She's got that yellow vibe. It's like, it's like this.
You know, that's on purpose.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And so without further ado, we're going to bring up, just have a conversation about this awesome Gutsy founder's journey to becoming the avatar. LauraAura.
LauraAura.
Good afternoon.
Hey. Yes, the yellow was absolutely on purpose, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Well, actually, yes, this is your website color and everything, right?
Well, I mean, more chartreuse, but the only chartreuse I have is winter gear, and we're just not doing that right now. So I wanted to bring a little extra liveliness today.
So real quick, because you shared this and because we geek out about all things social media and handles and avatars, you gave us a little bit of the backstory of where LauraAura came from. Do you mind retelling that brief story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I often get asked, is LauraAura like your actual name, like your real name, first and last name? And I'm like, I wish I was that cool at birth, but no.
Right.
So, you know, when I started my first business 18 years ago, I started my journey in branding. And one of the very first things that I did was joining a networking group because I had no idea what I was doing and I knew nobody. So I'm like, okay, I need to immerse myself here. Right.
Yeah.
So every week we would go around the table and give each other testimonials or referrals. And a gal stood up and she's like, Laura, I don't know what it is about you. There's this aura, this LauraAura. And I remember in that moment, like chills down my spine. I was like, there is something about this. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to put it in my back pocket. So I carried it with me for years, not knowing what it was. And as I was growing the agency, I started to speak. I started to speak on stages. The clients that we were working with started to ask me to coach them. So I started coaching. And I realized that like that made me feel very alive in a whole new way that I hadn't experienced in a while. And when I realized like, hey, like, what do I want to be known for in this space? How do I want to present myself? I realized that LauraAura is actually all of me. So it's my younger self. It's my younger child, my creativity, my adventurous, my curiosity. It's my higher self, my inner knowing, my groundedness, the older, wiser version of me. And then there's present day self who gets to embody all parts of that. And so LauraAura is the embodiment of all of me showing up in this space.
I love that. And I had echoed that was also my journey to the name Grant Sparks. And it's my stage self, the clarity self. You know, I hadn't tied it to my inner healing. And I appreciate you going back to that youthful energy. And you exude that. And have you landed on?
No, I was just thinking, I'm like, this is my sign that I need to find that name that really embodies what I'm becoming, but also honors and cherishes what it took to get here, and kind of like talking to all those versions. And so I am inspired to figure that out. I'm not there yet, but maybe I need to go to another networking event.
Well, you know, I think that it will find you. I don't know that it's something that you could sit down with a notebook and figure out. It's gonna be one of those moments or something that you say in a conversation that is just gonna like click, and you're gonna be like, there it is.
There it is. Well, there it is.
And so, do you know where Grant Sparks came from? I moved to this town that we're in now, away from my hometown. I gave up everything and starting a new life, starting a new identity, and I ended up with a group of real estate investors. And we ended up in these very heated, active conversations. And someone said, "Man, Grant's just sparking. You know, Grant just sparks." And this was like 2007. And it resonated with me, just that idea. And then a little bit later, about a year later, I was trying to come up with the name for my company. And I said, you know what, I'm going to really spend time with this and dig through what this brand is going to be. And State of the Spark came up inside of me. And that's been my LLC for a long time. And it didn't even dawn on me to take on the mantle of the avatar till just a few years ago, where I was like, wait, I can be anything I want.
Right. You can do anything on social media. You can name yourself anything.
Isn't that bizarre though? Like when I first started to be on other people's podcasts and, speaking officially, they're like, what's your name? And I'm like, oh, I felt like kind of weird saying LauraAura because it was untraditional. It was like, are people going to think that this is childish or goofy or whatever? And then I'm like, hold the phone. Hold on a second.
Yes.
This is how I present myself. This is how I feel my most aligned, my fullest. This is like really embodiment. So why am I going to shy away from that? But I say that to say that sometimes when we do things that are unconventional or not what people might expect, you're going to get some pushback internally, right? Like you're going to resist it until you don't.
Yes.
Right. Well, it does make you stand out though. Like as soon as I went to the website, I was like, Laura, or I had to like say it to myself. And you don't spend that much time processing somebody's name when it's just something simple that So I think it works for your brand to have people kind of go, because it just doesn't, you don't see those words together very much, even though it's easy to say LauraAura, but you have to spend more time on it. It makes you stand out.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure in branding, you started in branding.
Right, exactly.
I'm sure you've advised people to codify their brand. So that leads to a question. You admitted to wrestling with this a little bit. Did you ever wrestle because you couldn't decide whether or not you should be pushing forward a company brand versus a personal brand? Or did you ever wrestle just because the name felt pretentious maybe?
Yes. Across the board, yes.
Okay.
Well, honestly, when I was running the agency, I was unofficially speaking and coaching on the side, right? And so it was forever this pool of, do I lead this through the agency or do I lead this through a personal brand? It's two things now to manage, like which way do I want to go? And I juggled that for years until I had that aha moment where I was like, oh, it's actually time to leave that industry completely and go all in on speaking, which is what I did. 18 months ago, I sold my agency and went all in on speaking. So,
whoa, wait, that was a loaded sentence. 18 months ago, I sold my company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was it a win for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right place, right time, right, just everything. I just knew, I was like back and forth, I'm like, oh, why aren't people hiring me to speak? And why don't I have enough energy to do more coaching? And I'm like, Laura, because you're not making time. It's time to make a decision. I had been in branding for over 20 years at that point. The agency was 16 years old at that point. And it was tough to let that go because I'm like, this is what my livelihood's in. This is what my background's in. This is what my degree's in. This is what my reputation is in. This is how I feed my family. Oh yeah, absolutely. But trying to balance like growing that and also growing what my soul was like, excuse me, it's time. And if you don't listen, I'm going to make you. The world loves to do that to you.
Yes.
Ask me how I know that. But so, I juggled that for a long time, knowing what to do. But then when I started to get the clarity around, it's really time to go all in on speaking because this is my soul's purpose in life. It became a no-brainer to lead, as a personal brand.
Wow. Okay. So you are literally about 24 months ahead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been a speaker and a coach starting back in 2013. I lived abroad for a while, moved back, and then started up some services companies because as a speaker and a coach, you meet a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
And, I could always throw back to my previous skills, website design, AI, automations. So we started doing more services and we ramped it up. Then it became all consuming and coaching disappeared and Keynote disappeared from a time bandwidth perspective, And so we're now trying to partner and get to that point where we can pivot back to that. So what words of encouragement or advice would you give someone who's 18 months, you're not LauraAura self, you're Laura self 18 months ago, who's like, I'm not sure I should do this. What's the advice or encouragement that really pushed you over the edge?
You already know what you want to do. You just got to stop fighting it.
Dang, drop the mic.
You gotta
Man,
stop
I feel
fighting
like,
it.
okay, I'm just going to say it. All right. LauraAura, you came here today for a purpose and a reason. Okay.
I got you.
You found me so that you could speak life into this man
Oh
right
my
here,
God.
because he is literally talking about this and dealing with this on a daily basis. I have a very lucrative website company that has held me and my family afloat for years and years, almost 20 years, like exactly what you're saying. But my desire to be speaking and coaching is overwhelming me because I've been ignoring it to hold up this company. And so it's just kind of like always this balance. And it's like, what do I do? Well, guess what? Here today, LauraAura is here to present you with a roadmap.
I'm just future Grant waving at you saying, hey, if you want this, it's time to stop resisting that thing. I tell people all the time, and it gets wound up in the best of ways. The thing that you want the most is often behind the thing that you resist the most.
Oh, dang! There it goes. Okay.
So I'm just saying, you already know what you want, and that's my whole thing about being gutsy, right? Is actually doing the thing that you really want to do, regardless of circumstances, situations, the overthinking, all this stuff that, I mean, you can plan and think your way through this for the next 20 years. And guess what? Your soul is slowly going to wither away every moment that you do.
Exactly.
So it's like making that gutsy move doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out. It doesn't mean you have to have, you don't have to flip the table over, right? You don't have to burn everything down unless you want to, and then do it safely. It's really about listening, right? Trusting yourself, because you already know. You already know, my friend. And then being willing to take the next step towards it. I mean, that's literally the only way to get the things that you actually want.
We heard that this morning. We host a community coffee in our downtown Lakeland area, and entrepreneurs, content creators, everybody just shows up because literally everybody just wants to talk to people, right? And so we're there, we're an open book, and it was a lot of talk today was about the human
design.
The human design.
Yeah.
I'd never heard about it before. They're pulling out apps and talking about spleens and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on right now, but we've gone down the rabbit hole. Here we are. But a lot of what came out of that is you just have to trust yourself, because we can make mistakes and we may not know, but there is a knowing in you that you're resisting, and you literally just have to trust yourself.
Yeah. And that knowing is often very soft and very subtle. Like I think sometimes, I mean, the closer we get to it, it can get louder, it can get bigger, it can jump up and down, right? And do the dance and all that stuff. But oftentimes it's the most still, subtle thought and feeling that you have. And so start paying, it's very easy to bypass it because you're like, oh, it's not big enough, it's not loud enough, it's not whatever enough. But it's like, that's you grounded. That's your inner knowing.
Yeah.
And so when you start honing in and listening to that very soft, subtle voice and trusting that instead of all this that's happening up in your head, because that's where it feels, normal and easy and real, right? Because it's loud. It's that quiet stuff. That's where the gold is.
Wow.
So is this what you talk about on the Gutsy podcast?
Oh yeah, girl.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Listener, I'm headed. I'm going to be adding that to my.
I am forever helping people get out of their own damn way. I mean, it's just.
Man.
They
said that again this morning. Get out of your own way. Leanne said that a couple times this morning. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So is this what you cover in AuraLine?
Yes. AuraLine is my mastermind. So I'm helping female entrepreneurs to work through that stuff in a space where they feel open and safe, and we can talk about the real stuff. Like the reason I started the Gutsy podcast many, many years ago was because I found all these entrepreneurs were coming to me to have these conversations, right? We would have the talk about branding, and then that talk would end and the owner would be like, hey, Laura, do you have like 5 minutes?
Yes.
And we would have these very raw conversations about the big ideas that they had that people thought were ridiculous, or the stuff that was keeping them up at night, or their fears that they didn't want anybody else to know because, like, oh, what if I don't appear as professional, or I don't look like I have my stuff together anymore, right? And so that's where the idea of interviewing entrepreneurs and then eventually turned into the podcast began. And so AuraLine is an extension of that, right? A place where you can actually talk about the real stuff, but also get very practical advice. So I can motivate you all day long, but unless you have something like that you can like wrap your hands around and do something with, I'm just, it's a firework moment. So in AuraLine, we're peeling back the layers. We're digging in the trenches. We're figuring those things out and getting the solutions, but in a space that is incredibly supportive.
So do you have a space for an honorary male?
Don't pimp me out. This is sacred space for women.
What? I'll join it.
Yeah, ask for yourself.
And then I'll bring the goodies back to you, Grant.
There you go. There you go. There's always the time and place. I work with people of all types. This particular container, however, is designed for female entrepreneurs and leaders.
I'll do the male version, Spark Sync. And instead of AuraLine, we got parallels. And
that's true. Yeah. You just,
I mean, we already have a lot of parallels. I'm just saying.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm loving it. So, you are a rich individual and just like, even in your intonation and inflection, you can tell that these aren't just fly by night thoughts. You're not just reading the latest guru and spouting them off. This stuff's ingrained in you. And I can feel that. We can hear that in your voice. What have been some of the most powerful inputs you have received or chosen that have helped you along this path to be such a resource for your people?
Oh, wow. I mean, I have messed up a lot. I mean, fair, right? Like I've messed up a lot, but honestly, I think just staying incredibly curious has just kept me learning and growing, curious about my feelings, curious about what's going on, curious about this idea that I have, curious about my resistance, just like getting to know those things. And then I don't know, I'm just like a sponge when it comes to this stuff. I just want to know it and understand it. Yeah. And when I figure it out, or at least a piece of it, I just have to turn around and hand it out, right? I have to share it with others because that's what you talk about human design. I am a 5'2" splenic projector, if that means anything to you.
Yeah. We just met a 5'1" splenic projector today.
Yeah. I would imagine, Greg, for sure that you are a projector. It would be ridiculous.
What did they call you? A manifester?
They call me a manifesting generator.
Manifesting generator. Okay.
But that was all, that was all people projecting what they thought you were. So we don't know yet.
We didn't take the test.
Yeah, we didn't.
Okay. It will be very interesting to see that. Yeah. But, just staying very open and curious and learning, and then, being in alignment with myself. Like human design is one of those tools that helps you get into alignment with yourself.
Yes.
Trial and error is how you find alignment with yourself. Always staying open to like, hey, this drains me, or, oh, hey, this makes me feel alive. And then consistently believing and trusting both of those things because it's information.
What are you finding now in your vast experience of this, including like this mastermind AuraLine and the people you've been interviewing for Gutsy Podcast? What is the most predictable challenge that these entrepreneurs or high achievers are facing? Like someone comes to you and says, hey, I've got a question, I've got a problem. And you're like, I guarantee it's one of these two or three things. Yeah. What's the most consistent challenge people are truly facing?
So there's the two hot, without a shadow of a doubt, is other people.
Okay.
And trusting yourself. So other people, meaning what are people going to say? What are people going to think? I don't want to rock the boat. I'm afraid of how I'm going to be perceived. I don't want to disrupt the way that things are happening at home. I don't want to inconvenience somebody, right? Like they're basing what they want to do off of how it's going to affect other people or what other people might say or think about what they're going to do. Always in the top. And then the second one is trusting themselves. I'm rarely telling people anything that they don't know.
I agree with that.
They just haven't given themselves permission to believe and trust it. Right. So we definitely uncover some stuff, right? We find ways and methods and techniques, but usually I'm just mirroring back to you your energy and what you're already sharing. So I'm telling you what's already happening on the inside. And then through the work that we do, we build that trust. So it's self-trust in people. I mean, I could throw $100 bill down every time.
Yeah. Yeah. We heard that a lot today too, of speaking it out loud is part of the practice of becoming more confident and willing to trust yourself. So just going through, I'm sure, your coaching program or even your mastermind, but saying these things, even though they know it, saying it out loud is the difference maker for them to move forward.
It's huge because you think about it, when you're just thinking, it's just contained. You know, it's like a ping pong ball, just like bouncing around and it's not going anywhere. It can't, it can grow, certainly not
Yes.
usually in the best of ways, but it can't go anywhere. You know, it's contained energy. Whereas when you're talking it out loud, or if you like to journal or you like to sing or whatever your method is, it's giving it the space to actually move. It's giving it the space for that energy to like transmute through you so that you can make sense of it. And sometimes you just need to hear it out loud, even if it's just sitting in your room by yourself, to be like, oh, that sounds kind of ridiculous. Or, oh, that actually sounds pretty interesting, right? It's not just the bad stuff, it's the great stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does it look or sound like for someone to trust themselves?
That's a great question. I love that. What does it sound or look like for someone to trust themselves?
Yes.
I think that when you get an idea or a thought, instead of immediately shutting it down, even if you start to go that way, you instead question it first. And what I mean by that is, I want to try this new thing with my business. Oh, I can't do that. But oh, hold on. Where is that coming from? Why don't I think that that's a good idea? Why am I feeling resistance toward, you know what I mean? That's that curiosity that I was talking about earlier. Instead of being like, oh, there I go again. Oh, I'm, resisting the stuff. I'm sabotaging myself. It's like, no, let's actually just play with it a little bit. Like, where is that coming from? And so when you start to get used to getting curious about your thoughts and feelings instead of judging them or shutting them down, now you're like playing with Play-Doh, right? Like the more you play with Play-Doh, the more moldable it gets, the softer it gets, the warmer it gets. And I think that trusting yourself is very much like that. And then when you get a little piece of clarity, action. We can think about stuff all day long, but if we're not moving, if we're not taking some kind of action, it just stays an idea. So trusting yourself is hearing it and feeling it, getting curious about it, and then trusting it to take action.
Wow. I'm gonna have to sit with that, man.
Yeah.
That's huge. And when it comes to trusting yourself, and you nailed that. And let's say one of your coaching clients or one of your mastermind people says, I hear you, LauraAura. How do I act on this? And you give them what you just gave us. Do you have like a recommended book, resource, podcast, reference to go deeper into like the self-trust thing? Or do they already know enough and they just need to sit with the conviction or lack of conviction?
Typically, if they're in a space with me, I'm providing the resources. And they just need the container to get permission to trust themselves. Like I'm not giving them permission. I'm helping them see that they have their own permission.
Wow.
Right. And so sometimes they just need to hear it, have that dialogue, have that conversation, talk about it out loud, get some clarity. That's a huge part of this.
Yeah.
Sometimes they need to sit with it and let it marinate, right? Like you don't have to act immediately. I think that's important for people to know. Sometimes you do need that marination period. But other times people are like, nope, that's exactly what I needed. I'll see you tomorrow. I got to go. And they're off to the races. You know what I mean? So there's no one way. That's the other thing about trusting yourself, is like also getting to know what that feels like in your body. Like we just
say more about that.
Yeah. We dismiss our body, right? We get into routines and we're going and we're pushing and we're checking boxes and we've got technology everywhere. And we forget that like, hey, we have this entire compass system built in. And so I like to get to know what a yes feels like versus what a no feels like in my body. So I like to call it bricks or butterflies.
Bricks or butterflies?
Yeah. You want me to tell you about it?
Yes.
Okay. So bricks to me is your body's way of saying, no, this is not for you. It's usually a deep, sinking, heavier feeling, lower in your body. Like something's not quite right, but you can't put your finger on it. You can't really justify it. You know, have you ever just like been around something or someone or went to go somewhere and you're just like, I'm not feeling it, but I can't tangibly justify it. That's your body's way of saying, this is not for you. This is a no. This is not the right time. This is not the right space. This is not the right thing for you. Whereas your intuitive yeses are usually like butterflies. They're lighter, they're airier, they tend to be higher in your body. Kind of like when you're on a roller coaster, like you want to throw your hands up. I'm really excited, but I also feel like I might puke a little bit.
Yes.
That's your body's way of saying, green light, keep going. This is the thing.
Okay.
And so if you get to know, that's one example, right?
Sure.
Like you might feel a no in your left knee. I don't know. You
A
might
no
feel,
in my left.
you might feel a yes with chills down your neck. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
every body is different. So getting to know what a yes feels like versus a no feels like is a great way to check in, to trust yourself either way. That's really important either way.
Wow. And that takes time.
Yeah.
To cultivate that mind body awareness. How long do you think it normally takes someone to like really be able to trust that method in what they're sensing in their body? What have you seen?
You know, I don't know that there's a specific time, but I think that sometimes the circumstances speed things up. So for instance,
Yes.
what I mean by that is, you know, maybe you felt a no, but you weren't really sure and you did it anyway. And then life was like, here's a lesson.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That can be like, oh, there was a no. That was a no. Now I know what that feels like. So sometimes we have to go through those experiences to like really learn it.
Yeah.
I think that you can start to notice it almost instantly. If you're willing to sit with it and just get to know it before you make decisions, check in with your body. What are you feeling? You know, it's a very quick thing. It doesn't have to be this whole like 40-minute meditative state that you go into. Could be, but it doesn't have to be. So I think that you can start to notice pretty quickly how long it takes for somebody to actually trust it. I mean, listen, I teach this stuff for a living and I still from time to time I'm like, no. And then I'm like, oh, yes.
What is the ratio of yes to no's?
I think it depends what you're bumping up against. I think it depends you know, are you taking risks? Are you trying new things? You know, like what season of life or business are you in? Are you in a season where you're like really pushing forward? You're in growth season. You're trying new stuff. You're changing things. I mean, you're going to be pushed up against decisions substantially more than if you're
speed things up if you do put yourself in a quick season of like doing a lot of things that scare you. You could really hone in how you're responding to all that. My brain keeps going to, okay, I've been in fight or flight mode for the past year. And so my instincts are all over the place and things that shouldn't scare me. And so I think there's probably like we were talking about like healing and things to go through, but it's still at the end of the day, it's getting back to knowing yourself, which is getting to know your body and understanding what does flare up in you and like taking a moment and sitting with that. But yeah, I think it's all about getting back to trusting yourself, like you were saying.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like going to the gym or being on a health journey.
Yeah.
You know, like it takes repetition. It takes intention. You have to build in time for it. It's not just going to happen on its own. So it becomes a practice. And eventually, you know, now I rarely have to really like tap in because my body just speaks way before my mind or my body can. So it's a muscle that you're building for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I check in with my body enough when I'm going to respond, you know, to a situation.
Yeah. Did you ever struggle to share your message?
Yeah, I think I've struggled many times to share my message, especially when it wasn't clear. You know, like
oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
I mean, I've taken the hard way around many situations. My message being one of them.
Sure,
you'll appreciate this. So gutsy has been part of my message for 11, 12 years now at this point. When I started to go out as a speaker, right, really honing in on speaking and coaching, I'm like, oh, what is my message going to be, right? Like, what is my brand message? What am I going to be known for? What is my thing? I danced around 30 different topics.
Yes.
And I'm like, why is none of this landing? Why is none of this clicking? Why don't I feel energized by this? Why is it so hard to create content? Why am I like beating my head up against the wall and not getting anywhere? And then one
Mm.
day I'm like, okay, I need to just not. So I got out of my office. I went for a walk around my neighborhood.
Okay.
And as I was walking, we talk about trusting yourself and being open. First, change your atmosphere. Stop
Yep.
forcing it to happen. Get up and move your body. That
There
moves
you
the
go.
energy. As I'm walking, I hear, why aren't you leaning into gutsy? And
Yeah.
and out loud by myself, I was like, why am I not leaning into gutsy? That's ridiculous. Like that's
Yeah.
literally like been my message for a decade at this point.
Yeah, it's right there.
I'm telling you, the second I got that clarity and I started creating content,
Yes.
my keynote was developed. I'm getting hired to speak on stages. I'm teaching classes. I've got a community built. Everything's based around gutsy.
Yes.
So
I totally
I
agree
think
with that.
sometimes you have to like play with things to
Yeah.
find the thing. Nicole, like I was saying with your name earlier, like sometimes you just have to like be in it and move with it and be okay with it not being solidified yet because you know that it's forming, right?
There you go.
Yes.
Something is coming
There's a
about
lot
this.
forming right now.
There
I'm
you
in
go.
a transition period. There's a lot forming.
Well, and it's
I have to be
uncomfortable.
patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Transition is uncomfortable. So what do we
Yeah.
want to
Right.
do? I want to get an answer right now so I can get out of this.
Something really quick.
Yeah, solve it.
And then and then you rush it, and then you know you've rushed it because you haven't actually landed on something that gives you clarity. That's how you know it's not the right thing. So
Yeah.
that clarity moment, I am trying to be super patient with myself right now.
Yeah.
Why is the message of being gutsy important to you?
You know, I gotta tell you, the thing that keeps me up the most is watching people settle.
Yes. Oh.
Dang.
Settle for careers that they don't love.
Yes.
Settle for businesses that are running them instead of them running it. Settling in relationships, settling for health, settling for things that they know is not for them, but they don't either know how to get out of it. They're afraid of changing it. They don't want to rock the boat. They're not sure what to do. Well, I mean, there's 8 million reasons, right?
Yes.
But when I have conversations with people and they're just like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, but why is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is that okay? And to get out of that settling moment, we've got to be gutsy. You're often going against the grain. You're trying something new. Maybe you're the first person in your family that's like done this whole new adventure. Maybe you've never been around entrepreneurs before. Maybe, you know, nobody in your world has ever left a relationship and you're about to do that, right? Like you're often going at this and it feels very lonely. One of the many reasons I have a mastermind and the other things that I do is like, we got to do this with like-minded people.
Yes. Like-minded people do.
We've got to be, the way to make those changes is we got to be gutsy. You know, gutsy is what happens in that split second when you start thinking about doing something, you start feeling that pull, that nudge, and instead of going back to what you know, you decide to lean in and go forward.
Yes.
And that often happens in micro steps. So many times people are like, I need a perfect plan and I have to have it all figured out and I need to have it curated and I need to know how everything works. And it's like, we just need a direction. We need clarity on a direction, because if we have that, then we know where we're headed. Now we know what to do, like moving towards that instead of away from it. And that's often through what feels like very small, very slow, sometimes very painful steps forward. But eventually you turn around and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm there, or I look at what I've done so far. So I cannot rest knowing that people settle. And for the people that want to do something about it, I'm your girl. I got you.
She's got a clear why.
Yeah.
A clear, she has a very clear why.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, as you fired up the speaking, this is a very practical question. As you fired up the speaking and started keynoting, and you came up, you know, your keynote was outlined, you kind of had that anchor point. Did you focus on a niche or an ideal client, or, you know, how did you begin directing your energy in terms of obtaining your keynote speaking events?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I've always worked with women. So women are one of my primary audiences. I've been an entrepreneur now for 18 years. So entrepreneurs are a natural audience for me, but also leaders. Leaders they're leading themselves. They're leading teams. They are leading companies. So those three tend to be the audiences that I resonate the most with.
Mm.
So I just looked at like historically, where have I worked? Where do I have the most connection? Where do I have the most interest? And how can I support those people? So that's
So
where
no particular industry, but if so you look at conferences, you look at events, you look at organizations, but if you're looking at an organization, it's not based on a niche or an industry, it's based on the interest of the person hiring the speaker and what their desired outcomes are. Help our leaders, help our entrepreneurs, female business leader groups, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I work with a lot with corporations who have like business resource groups or employee resource groups who have they have women's groups, they have young professionals groups, there's leadership groups. So
Great.
working with companies that are really, really in tune with providing for and supporting their people. I want to partner with mission driven people and companies.
Yes.
So if we've got similar missions, if you're investing in your people, if you want to help them make gutsy moves, that's a whole nother conversation in its own. Like if you want to cultivate gutsy leaders, you have to be willing to be open to the ideas and the suggestions that
And
gutsy
what
leaders
a
give
great
you.
sales position.
Yeah.
Here's my invoice. And they balk at it. And you go, hey, you want gutsy leaders? You're going to have to lead by being gutsy yourself. Write the check, bro.
Yeah. So I'm not one specific industry. I'm people focused, you know.
Yeah.
If there's
Okay,
good hungry people in the room
Yeah.
that want to do good by themselves and to the people and for the people around them.
Yeah.
We're halfway there.
What is like the top, what is your top highest and best use? I assume you might have VAs or a team of some kind and maybe even some consulting clients. I'm sure there's like a whole ecosystem around you. When you look at that, obviously leading your team is super important. What is your highest and best use activity that's most leveraged to bring the most amount of win for your entire team or ecosystem?
Content. When I make
Tell me, preach. I love it.
When I'm making content, I mean everything I can watch the stream of everything based off of how many videos I'm putting out. And I'm not one to like crank out. I'm not posting 10 times a day. It's just not going to happen. And if you dig in and find out more about projectors, that's also not where our energy is best spent. But I start almost everything by making TikTok videos. That's
where
I
love the TikTok.
I love me some TikTok. I mean, I love consuming it. I love creating there.
People on there, you know, it's a different world.
It is. It really is.
Instagram, LinkedIn.
The more that I am me, the more open, lovingly blunt and direct that I am. I've really learned to accept and celebrate and use my voice as it is, that my teaching and speaking style is unique. And it catches people off guard sometimes, but for the right people, it's the right match. So the more I'm creating content, if I'm making videos and I'm showing up through video, not written stuff, when I have a chance to exchange my energy with the world, things happen.
Do you have a ritual? I just looked at your feed. I just followed you on TikTok. A lot of talking head and a lot of people poo-poo talking head. I love talking head because that's where my energy comes in. And you seem to have the same thing. Do you have a ritual before you turn on record?
Nope.
Little Mitch just goes.
I am very much in the, like, when I get a spark of something, pun intended there. When I get like that intuitive hit, when I get an idea, when I'm having a conversation with somebody that I'm like, oh, I know this is something that other people need to hear.
Yes.
I literally just open up my phone and hit record. Sometimes I'm wearing makeup. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm fully dressed. Sometimes I have no bra on. I mean, literally it's all over the place, but it is, you are getting the truest, rawest version of me always. And I've had to,
you can, when you're just yourself, it's low lift. You don't have to like get into, you know, some kind of avatar. You just are yourself. That's what I always tell people. Like, do what's the easiest is happening currently in your life, and you just want to talk about it. It's when you're trying to curate all this crap that you make it bigger than it is, and then you end up not posting anything. It's just like turn on the camera and talk your best talk and talk what's on your mind and just let people respond.
It's always the content that performs the best because it's the realest from the moment. And I'm not overthinking it, to your point, Nicole. Like, I'm not like, oh, well, let me save this. Now, sometimes I do. Like,
Right.
notes,
There's a
the notes
place for
section on my
that.
phone is pretty abundant. But when I'm not saying like, oh, I'll get to that later, I come back to it later. That like zing to it,
Yeah.
that
It's gone
energy behind it,
already.
it's just, it's
Yeah,
already
you got to
gone.
do it in the moment. I
Yeah.
agree. And
Yeah.
then you are creating more content because you're actually allowing yourself to flow in the moment.
Yeah.
And share that thought.
And one more thing there, people just connect better with just real people.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
it's I mean, I love a good, beautiful setup, don't get me wrong, but people they wanna work with and follow and connect with people that they feel like they share something with.
Yes.
So when I'm coming to them in just these very real situations, it's like talking to a friend.
And I noticed that nearly all of the first few scrolls, you have next to no outperforming viral videos except Say the Weird Thing. And it seems like you just have the average 300 to 500 views. And that seems to that aggregate, though, the volume of saying those things, it seems like you don't need massively viral videos to have 17,000 followers on TikTok. That leads to a question that I did want to ask you before we got out of here. You have almost 40,000 followers on Facebook. That's very respectable. Is that just time, or was there ever a moment that you kind of got a huge bump? Was there a viral moment at all?
There were a few viral moments, but honestly, the bump that got me to that number, or pretty darn close to it, was I was about to shut down my Facebook page because it was like crickets, like Wild West out there.
Oh, wow.
I think at the time I had 150 followers, which is fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
But there was no activity. There was nothing.
Engagement.
And I was like, I'm going to shut this down and bring it full circle about trusting myself. My gut was like, no, you're not. And I was like, well, what do you want me to do with this thing? Right? Like it's dead in the water.
Yeah.
And I got this download that was like, just why don't you put your TikTok videos on Reels?
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, it's not any more work. I'm already putting that content out there. If people
Yes.
aren't on TikTok, they're not seeing it. I started putting my Reels up. Bling, bling, bling. I mean, the videos just popped off. And I
Wow.
mean, within a couple of months, I had 20,000 plus followers and it just
Wow.
grew from there. So smarter, not harder. And
Right.
just exposing
Really
what I had
helpful.
already created to a
Yeah.
new audience.
Holy.
Facebook Reels is powerful.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
It's overlooked.
And people, even Christine, this morning we had our community coffee. We sat with creators and she said, I've been making money off of the Facebook creator program. I'm literally just taking the stuff that I was putting on TikTok and I'm not giving it any second thought. I'm just putting it on Facebook Reels, but I'm uploading directly to Facebook instead of it cross posting. And she says that she's made like $1,500 in the past 30 days from their creator program.
Yeah.
And
wow,
that's why I love getting together people, like all these different hacks and things that people are doing.
She's one of our influencer clients and friends who have about 120,000 Instagram followers. She has a great brand with she and her daughters, really good brand, but she always has really good nuggets and insights.
She really does.
She experimented with. That's awesome. So your main thing right now is Aura Line. What's the vision for the next 6 to 12 months for you?
I love that question because I'm always thinking up what's next. The next 6 to 12 months, I will be starting to write a book for sure.
Yes,
for sure. That's next up on my list. You'll see me on more stages because I'm very focused on speaking on more stages in both corporations, at events and conferences. And just expanding what I'm already doing. The Gutsy podcast, continuing to grow that, and supporting more women to do the thing that they know it's time to do.
What about retreats?
All in good time, my friend.
Let us know if you want to set up in Colombia. We've got a team that we work with consistently down there. We started looking for stuff in there. But go ahead, you had a thought.
Yeah, no, I just anytime I have that opportunity to be face to face with people and exchange energy and just have that intimate moment is a win for me. So retreats are one of those things that are hovering in my world. Sure. It's not time for it to land yet, but it's all in good time.
Yeah, it's back there. Yep.
Yeah. And what is the best way to be supporting you?
Listening to my stuff. No.
Listen to my stuff.
Listen to my stuff. No, I mean, the Gutsy podcast obviously is a great starting point for anybody that's might be feeling kind of curious after today's conversation, and sharing it, honestly. I mean,
Sure.
the helping other people, like-minded people, to share great resources is huge for me as a creator and a podcaster. So whether it's sharing my videos, sharing my reels, sharing my TikTok, sharing the Gutsy podcast, huge.
And does the Gutsy podcast have its own website, or is it all just LauraAura.com?
I mean, the gutsypodcast.com lives,
Okay.
but it goes to, you can find it on LauraAura.com.
Okay.
Man, well, thank you so much. Stick around. We're going to bring you down. We're going to close, but stick around. I want to chat before you take off. You have any final questions for LauraAura?
Did you build your own website?
Ooh.
Yes. So
What?
one of the great things about having a branding background is
I was thinking that. I bet you have a design background.
I can design stuff. So
Yeah,
it's
I love it. It's very nice. I like your whole brand.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Stick around, Laura. We'll be right with you. What was your biggest takeaway? She's awesome.
How cosmic this whole thing was for you, of course. I know I love her. But I do think this moment was made for you. I feel like she answered a lot of questions that have been in your head for months now, if not years.
I have to affirm this. We've talked to a lot of people. You guys who have watched the show, you know that we've talked to the Minister of Tourism for Colombia. We've talked to amazing people like the Bethunes with mega accounts like Trying Something New. We've talked to some impressive people, but this is aligned. Aura line. Check it out. get there now. This is aligned. Check us. Do we have anyone lined up for next week?
No, we usually we're kind of doing guests and then just us and then
guests
so
and
just
topic.
guests twice a month instead of every single week.
Any parting thoughts for everybody before we shut down for the day?
I really think that you guys should take the nuggets that LauraAura laid out today and try to explore some of that. And I absolutely agree with her with being curious. One thing that I can say that I'm always feeling is curious, and it keeps me moving to the next thing and looking to discover and learn more about myself and other people. So stay curious. Stay curious, and please check out LauraAura.com or the gutsypodcast.com. Listen to it. But if you have a friend or a female business owner or someone like that who needs a little bit of courage and get gutsy on their dream, check out the Gutsy podcast. Thanks everyone so much, and have a fantastic